I don't know how to say this. But because of the Queen, because of her funeral, they have closed McDonald's in the UK. This is a tragedy. This is impermissible. It's incorrigible. It's unfathomable. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know, yesterday I was speaking with George Galloway. I was on a show and we were, discussing the mass hysteria, right? And how what you see on TV isn't necessarily what's happening in real life. Yeah. And by that he meant that, common folk, then you don't have that many people who are actually in the mass hysteria. You have a good chunk. But the point is that they've cancelled football, which, again, that's a cardinal sin in the UK. And now they've done this. And not just McDonald's, but KFC as well. I mean, it's hit after hit. Look what they've done. This is an atrocity. This is an atrocity. The zoo, right? This is in Edinburgh, right, in Scotland. They've closed the zoo. They've closed schools and nurseries, supermarkets, Tesco Express, Sainsbury's, you name it. The post office, pubs and restaurants. What's going on? This is an apocalypse, man. I really don't know what's going on here. Are these decisions coming from small-time pub owners, or just is one, this corporate nonsense that you see? Oh, it's June. Okay, everybody bring out the pride flags. Let's pretend to give a crap about, gay people so we can sell more of our products. Oh, the Queen died. Okay, we're going to have a minute of silence. Actually, they did Aldi didn't even close the whole day. They're only closing until 5 p.m. and then reopening. I guess they don't like the Queen that much. I don't know what's going on. For the first time, I heard people singing the national anthem with King instead of Queen. Not that we should give a crap, but nevertheless. This is what it sounds like. Are you ready? All right, and you know the rest. I prefer the Sex Pistols version, honestly. Oh, Christ. People in Dundee were not as enthusiastic when they said, let's have a minute of silence for the Queen.
Please now observe a minute of silence in her memory, which will start with the referee's whistle, followed by the national anthem.
It sounds like booing to me. If you look at the title, they're singing Lizzie's in a Box. I mean, that's just... I get the feeling they just don't like the Queen, but I might be wrong. I want to show you something. I had the misfortune of watching a split second of the BBC and their live stream, and of course they're all dressed in black, right? Because it's 10 days of mourning, and if you don't do that, then you're a terrible person. Blah 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 blah. Totally not state media, And I clicked randomly on this timestamp, and I want you to listen to what this guy said. Listen.
It's interesting that there's a sort of tension between those two things. Do you think?
Yes, I think that's right. It's clear that in many ways she presided over a period of de-imperialisation, for want of a better word.
It's a good word.
And de-Victorianisation, if you'd like that.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Like, he knows he's full of shit. De-imperialisation, for want of a better word. And then she's like, oh, yes, it's a good word. I'm trying not to cuss at these people. Let me get this straight. The Queen of England presided over de-imperialization. I mean, this sentence is just verbal diarrhea. It should be thrown in the ground and, just discarded for eternity. The Queen of England presided over de-imperialization. What does that even mean? The only reason that there was de-imperialization, if there ever was, if there really was any, I don't agree that you had decolonization, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt. The only reason it happened is not because Queen Elizabeth II wanted it to happen. Do you understand? There's a big difference between, leaving and being kicked out. Yeah? Rebellions, anti-colonial movements. This is the thing with the British Empire. The list is so long, I'm just not even going to bother. And I did bother for the last couple of days. But these people, this is what people watch. This is what people are turning on their televisions. This is the diarrhea that they watch. And they actually believe it. They actually believe this stuff. They think that, she was as head of state. And again, remember what pay attention to what I'm saying to you. I'm not saying Elizabeth. I'm saying the Queen of England, the head of state, right? The monarch. And they're saying that she was doing a favor to all the people that we colonized. Well, what the hell is going on here? I dare not play the rest of the sentence. But I'm going to do that.
That one as well. And part of her skill at managing that was that she never let on that was what she was doing.
Yes.
And I think that was crucially important.
Hey, man. I'm not Sherlock Holmes, but she never let on that was what she was doing because she wasn't fucking doing it. You understand? I love this, this contradiction that the Queen of England... She's just a figurehead. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't make any decisions. She never expresses her opinion. Oh, heaven. Right? And then at the same time, she's the one who's pushing decolonization for, behind the scenes without telling anyone. Because she's so she's so cool. She's like James Bond. You don't see her coming. I'm shocked. I get the impression that I have not understood what these human beings here are saying. I feel like it's another language. What the hell are they saying? Are they high?
As well. And part of her skill at managing that was that she never let on that was what she was doing.
Jesus Christ.
And I think that was crucially important. Yet at the same time as those things were happening, she helped the monarchy adapt. Some thought too slowly, some thought too quickly. I think on the whole she called it right. And I think the recognition that she managed to sustain all of that over 70 years was a very extraordinary achievement. Just as is also the fact that, although we like to think to the contrary, over 70 years she sustained the fact that with very, very few exceptions, we never really knew what she thought about anything.
Wow, so you're a psychic, is that it? So the Queen of England was presiding over de-imperialization without telling anyone. And she's really cool because she never lets on what she's doing, and yet you somehow know what she was doing. This guy is doing Olympic level mental gymnastics. I can't. I'm sorry. This is as much BBC as I can watch. Do you see the kind of hysteria that is going on? This poison, this garbage that they feed people. I'm not saying you have to insult her. I'm not saying you should, you don't have to start singing Lizzie's in a box. But what is this whitewashing garbage? It's so cringy. They're so desperate to lick her, to kiss her ass, and kiss the monarchy's ass. Why? What? I don't understand this. You know who else showed up? Because everybody showed up, right, to her funeral. Everybody. I saw the French president, Emmanuel Macron. Biden was there, Joe Biden. And he gave some speech saying that Queen Elizabeth was like a mother to him or something. I don't know. I really hope I misread that. You had between 500 and 1,000 foreign dignitaries, right? Which makes sense. That's normal. Well, when I say normal, I mean if it's the UK or the US. So yeah, it depends. It depends how well your PR team whitewashed your image, I guess. But I want to show you who showed up among the ghouls, right? I know everyone's a ghoul, but, I think I see Gandalf down there. Isn't that Ian? Hold on. Look at this. It's Ian McKinnon down there, right? He's cool. But look who's up here. It's Ursula von der Leyen, sack of poop. Our lovely EU commissioner. So she posted on Twitter. I'm going to try and read this in her voice. I was honored to pay my last respects to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Stoic and steadfast, she always reminded us that our future is built on new ideas and founded in our oldest values. May we all continue to find inspiration in the unique legacy she has left us. Do you guys know that the royal family are actually German? And I'm not even kidding. And they actually specifically changed their name during World War I to Windsor because of the, how can I put it? People were not too fond of krauts in wartime in England, right? This is the Queen's real name. Saxa Coburg Gotha. Christ, a German name if there ever was one. So they changed it in 1917. This is during World War I, right? That's the real name. And of course, you know how this goes, right? With royal families, they basically, they have intermarriage. You'll have some royal from Spain marrying some royal from, the UK, and then, their children marry their cousins from Belgium, whatever the fuck is happening, and they're all inbred, and, they, that's how they keep the bloodline pure. Very, very stable, these people, aren't they, mentally? Here's the Duke and the Duchess of Windsor, right? And they had the lovely pleasure of meeting Adolf Hitler. Look how happy they are, right? As if they've encountered Santa Claus at a mall during Christmas time. Look how giddy they are. They're so pleased. Now, keep in mind, this is before the war started. Nevertheless, in 1937, I mean, you could see who the Nazis are, coming a mile away, right? Nuremberg laws were passed in 1935. They're already, they banned Jews from doing virtually anything in German society. They were already rearming, etc., etc., etc. And, this is the royal family, basically, right? Now, I must admit, this guy was sort of like cast out and disowned by the rest of, because he wanted to marry some American pleb, as they would put it, not me, as they would put it, right? Again, this goes back to what I said 2 minutes ago. You have to keep the bloodline pure, or else they'll scold you for it. Not allowed. But I just think it's interesting that we have a man called Charles, who is now apparently the king. I don't recall electing this guy or asking him to be my king. It's a bit weird, right? Like, who made this decision? I even if you want to give people the benefit of the doubt, like, okay, yeah, Queen Elizabeth was a saint. Okay, whatever. Yeah, sure. Please go ahead, mourn her, etc. Do your thing. Who's this guy? Who is this guy? You guys do know that this is not just like some kind of ceremonial role. There's a lot of money that comes with it. I told you guys the other day, the royal family, they have roughly 28 billion with a B dollars, right? And that's just what we know. So you could, I guess if you wanted to be realistic, it's probably double that. Who knows? Who the hell knows, honestly? And of course, there's something called the sovereign grant in England. Basically, the taxpayers, not only foot their bills, but they have a steady stream of revenue coming in all the time. And then they'll tell you things like, yeah, but look, they have the Duchy of Cornwall. And they'll these properties bring in their own revenue. And the Queen, she brings in tourists. What kind of an argument is that? She died last week, and how much was she worth? $500 million? You don't make $500 million by bringing in tourists. Okay? That money is dirty as the British Empire itself. You don't get $28 billion. It doesn't fall out the sky. You don't get that from bringing in tourists. That is a complete farce. And anyone who believes that needs to get their head examined. Okay, and so this leads me to my my original point, which is that the UK wants to go hand in hand with Uncle Sam, around the world, lecturing other people about democracy, bombing, killing, spying, torturing, whatever it is, sabotaging in the name of democracy. And then we have people like this running around calling themselves kings like it's the 15th century. What lunacy is this? And let me play the clip, huh? Check out his behavior. You're going to like this. Jesus, did you see that? Look at his face. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. His Majesty had to lift a finger and move a pen. Oh, the travesty. This is really the quintessential embodiment of snobbery and arrogance. He's like, can't you see I'm right here? Take this bloody pen, you peasant. What's wrong with you? And then he had another outburst with a pen. Not a day later. Check this out. Oh my goodness. Look how hardworking he is. Oh no. Oh.
13, sir. Oh God, wrong date.
Oh, you poor thing.
13. Yes, sir. Oh God, I hate this.
Oh, look, it's going over the back. Hang on. So nobody got wrong. No, it's so
This bloody thing.
This bloody thing. I'm playing it again. Look at him, so hardworking, man.
Is it September 12th? 13, sir. Oh God, wrong date. 13. Yes, sir.
You saw 12 earlier.
Oh God, I hate this.
Oh, look, it's going over the back. Hang on. So nobody got wrong.
Now, obviously, we're not going to judge him because he doesn't like bad pens. But I feel like there's a sense of entitlement, right? Which comes naturally when you're pampered like that by the taxpayer and you literally do nothing for a living. I mean, this is really shocking. Once again, I ask myself, what do other countries think when they look at the UK? Liz Truss, who's the new prime minister, was mistaken for a minor royal by Australian news.
No, hard to identify. Maybe
Oh yeah, you see the subtitles there?
hard to identify. Maybe minor royals, members of the. I can't identify them.
We can't spot everyone, unfortunately. They look like they could well be local dignitaries. It's hard to see. We're looking at the backs of their heads most.
Dude, she's the prime minister. I can understand though why they thought she's a royal. It's the pampering, right? It's the VIP package. Anyway, man. Anyway, look. Here's a video of the procession, which was, mandatory viewing unless you want to be called a terrible human being. I feel like it's one thing to mourn Queen Elizabeth, which I'm perplexed why you would do that in the first place, given what she represents. And it's another thing to just immediately rush some guy named Charles and say that he's the king. Says who? Who decided this? What papers is... you saw those things that he was signing? That bloody thing doesn't work, it's leaking. I'd love to know what he was actually signing. I definitely didn't give it to him. I don't think anyone in Britain gave it to him. The real tragedy out of all this is, of course, McDonald's being closed, but we'll get through it. You guys are tough. We got this. Don't worry. And I really hope this is the... well, it certainly won't be, but let's say I hope for the foreseeable future I won't have to give this, this bloody medieval nonsense any more attention, because I think it's so insulting and demeaning, and it's really a circus. If we had any respect, right, for our institutions, we would not have a monarchy, and we would not have media like this. This is state media if I ever saw one. I want to say that loud and clear. You see in the movies, they make fun of the Koreans, they make fun of the Arabs, they make fun of the Africans, they make fun of everybody and say, ha ha ha, look at them, look how they worship the supreme leader, right? Look how stupid they are, ha 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 ha, the Koreans, look at them, they're all brainwashed. Really? You should have watched BBC coverage the last 10 days. Then fucking talk to me about state TV, man. Christ.